Next, we have another amazing case study, which is mobile field and project management solutions with a focus on the Pune Metro project. For that, I would welcome Bhargav Dave, co-founder of Visiline, on the stage, please. Bhargav, co-founder and CEO of Visiline, a Finnish startup focusing on solving complex production management problems in construction with lean methods. He started his career in the construction industry, leading process improvement and lean implementation projects, followed up with research in improving production on construction projects with lean construction methods aligned with information systems. He has authored over 45 publications and led several research projects in the area. Please have a big round of applause for Bhargav. I'll hand it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks a lot, Mustafa, for the introduction. I'll be talking about mobile and field applications in construction today. We're taking, we have a specific focus on some case studies based in India. Wider than Pune Metro, actually, we're going to introduce a range of case studies which actually have enabled or have been enabled through this sort of mobile and field applications. But before I introduce the case studies, I just want to kind of introduce you to what we do. So like Mustafa mentioned, we are a Finnish startup based in Helsinki. That's where we were headquartered. We are a research-led startup, originally out of my own PhD, and then the research we did in the field of lean construction and BIM. The basic premise on which we stand today is that lean construction processes can help improve efficiencies across construction projects. And by integrating them with BIM, with sort of product management, we can actually take these efficiencies even further. And today we're going to actually show and demonstrate some of these sort of how they can actually converge and bring even more benefits. So if you think about lean and BIM, now we're augmenting that with even sort of some more technologies in terms of field management and also reality capture like drone and 360-degree data and things like that. So my own background's in construction, and like I said, my master's and PhD were both in the field of digital construction. I worked in this space in sort of since last 2 decades, first in India, then in the UK, and then in Finland. Some of the publications that I have are in field of lean construction, BIM, and also IoT, and how we can actually deploy this in the field of project management. So what does Visiline do? We actually have a construction management platform that helps you with planning, scheduling, and control of construction projects. We set out to actually bridge the gap between head office and project site and the actual site that, where the work actually gets done. And in the process of doing that, we built, I don't know why it's changing on its own. We built interfaces mainly targeted towards project personnel. So your project managers, your site managers, your supervisors and superintendents and so on. Predominantly bridging, again, the top-down versus the bottom-up planning and scheduling and control. And while we do that, you can imagine that some of those workers, as they are in the field, we were then encouraged to kind of build interfaces using mobile apps and sort of field management techniques. So naturally, those are the interfaces that we have built. And in the context of which how this sort of solution gets deployed, you can see that here in this particular case, it's one of the big room projects that we have or we had in Dublin in Ireland, where team comes together. They actually use our solution through some of these big room meetings during their look-ahead planning and collaborative planning sessions, both during design and construction, to then build their sort of ground level plans, which are then later on reconciled with the top level sort of directives through the help of mobile apps and field sort of technologies. These are some of the examples. These are some of the customers we have been working with globally. We started out in Scandinavia, so Finland, Norway, Sweden, these sort of countries to start with, and also UK and Ireland. So some of our early customers like Mace and Galliford Try and Implenia, based in Europe and UK. We are spread across multiple sectors, so starting from residential and commercial all the way to sort of major infrastructure projects. We support quite a lot of infrastructure projects also in India. These are some of the customers. Sorry, it's not changing for some reason. That in India we have been working with, so the likes of Tata, High Tech Riviera, PSP in Ahmedabad, and also in the northern capital region, likes of M3M and Pyramid and Smart World. The solution, as I mentioned, it has now evolved into an integrated platform. So we have just not sort of limited ourselves to planning and scheduling, but we have started to integrate with other data sources to give project teams sort of a unified interface through which they can make decisions. Because as you can imagine, the world of planning, it needs to then, in order to kind of control projects, it also needs to then reconcile the information with the likes of map data, so GIS data, drone data through reality capture, and also 360-degree data, depending on the context and the size of the project. And so we have evolved into this sort of an all-encompassing platform. And I actually want to invite Paramjit from my team. He heads customer success, who will then take you through how the platform has been deployed across multiple sort of projects across sectors in India, where we have leveraged these sort of mobile and field applications for managing projects. So over to Paramjit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paramjit. I'm the manager for customer success at Visaline. I've been with the company for more than 5 years now, and I have a wonderful team that I work with, which actually supports all of the clients that we deploy the solution with. So what I'm going to do now is walk you through examples of how the solution is being used, and there's a focus on basically the outputs that people desire. So I'll try and talk about that, not so much about how it's happening, but actually what people are able to gain from it. Let's walk through some of those examples. Just before we sort of start, so we're talking about connected projects here, and you've got these mobile apps that we talked about. So the engineers on site are actually giving this data or the updates on a regular basis. These updates are then either populating dashboards that are customized for customer requirements, or they are populating BIM models in real time. So essentially, the connection is always bottom-up. It is ground-based. It's not something that we are recreating for them. It's something that's driven by the teams themselves. So that's really important because it raises questions about what sort of data is required from site. And that's where it starts to open out a lot of the problems in terms of planning and control within the projects and the clients that we deal with. And those are the parts where essentially that's where a solution sort of starts to develop. And that's when sort of clients start to see some value from deploying something like this. You can start to see here how these connected projects, again, through ground-up data, are actually populating photographs, which are giving you a real-time assessment of what the model is also showing. The detail is to the extent that that parapet or ledge wall that you're seeing being sort of cast there, that's in progress. So purple, wherever you will see, is in progress, and so the greens are completed. And that's how you're able to correlate the data. The important part is that once this is set in, it's all getting updated in real time, so people can just visualize what's happening. We spoke, we described that we'll be talking about the metro project, so this is an example of what we ended up doing for it. Typically, when you're dealing with very complex projects and large projects, you're dealing with large and complex models. And we get asked very often that how will your system support these complex models? The right question to sort of ask at that point is, of course, what sort of outputs do you desire and what do you really want to run? And so this was a practically an LOD 200 model set up for a 23 kilometers metro line, where people were able to run this review every day for 1 hour, visually, basically telling you what the progress is, where your launching girder is supposed to be, where your progress should be against that, and you're able to sort of tell very clearly what the issues are going to be, what the status is. And this was running for it's been running for months actually. Similarly, when you plug in and you want to give more clarity on the same information, the BIM model is going to tell you something, but there's also a component of reality capture that plugs in and gives you even more insights about contextual data, about what's happening on site, what's the next junction, is there going to be a problem? And so when you're able to connect these data sets together is when clients start to generate value. And then it's not so much about how complex is the model that we're dealing with. It's about finding the solution and the right fit. So you're going to see this constantly across all the examples that I'm going to walk you through. Just as sort of some of these are going to be visuals that I'll just sort of pass through. But again, here's an example of what that connected data looks like. But again, I spoke to a lot of people at the event this time around as well, and I highlighted how we're fortunate enough to be dealing with a spectrum of clients and projects every single day, just by the virtue of our involvement on these projects. And so you do range from very complex BIM models on one side to simple basic 2D drawings also on the other end. But it's about being able to sort of work with them as well. This is, again, similar visualization, but done on 2D drawings. This is still done across a lot of projects on a daily basis with colored sketch pens that we've seen physically and manually. But again, it's the idea that the same system or the process fits into their requirement as well and meets their needs. One of the major sort of, this component that we've been discussing, even in the real estate space, is managing issues and constraints. So you've got your hindrance registers, issue logs. So you will notice that these constraints getting actually mapped to task data or schedule information. This has been one of the really important aspects of people finding value here. So your constraints related to approvals, design, manpower, equipment, day-to-day challenges, or anything related to the client, all of this is getting logged and getting actually connected to schedules so that dashboards can churn out forecast information about what's potentially going to go wrong and what that is going to look like as impact on your schedules. So there's a change from actually looking at forecasted data on MSP schedules versus now getting a sense of true sort of impact analysis as you go forward. I just want to check how much time do I have? I heard 2 bells. 2 minutes? That's short. Okay, I'm going to fast track through these now. So you're going to look at some more examples. This is data that's coming from site. So simple information, but connected again to actual schedules, to planning information, where people are then able to review such sort of visuals and then decide what is to be done, where and how. Dhruv, should I be pointing this somewhere specifically? That's it? Okay. There are checklists involved, so you've got integrated. So again, as a platform that Dr. Bhargav described, you're going to find basically these approvals, checklists. Even in the real estate space, people have managed to take the system over to facilities management now and actually do basic maintenance checks and so on already within the platform. So we have clients who are finishing projects, which are developer groups, and then taking them into facility management operations and utilizing certain components such as checklists also for their maintenance, as well as maintenance schedules. So you're looking at a number of these integrated dashboards. I'm going to fast forward to some of these and what they look like. We are customizing these dashboards. A lot of the clients are customizing it themselves. But you're basically creating these integrated dashboards. End of the day, it's the output that people are going to visualize and discuss, whether it's sort of complex, large real estate projects or even linear projects where you're dealing with changes. A lot of dependence is there on visual mapping of this information. And so you're going to find these examples to be of a lot of relevance. But the idea here is that whatever platform you use, these are confirmed projects where people have gotten rid of multiple Excel files or Excel dashboards or Excel-based dashboards where people have had to generate a lot of this information, even things like this activity tracker, which is a very clear representation of what your real estate residential projects look like, progress of work against towers, against floors. It's practically a real-time elevation of your project. So all of these have been built in so that people are generating the outputs that they desire, whether it's getting into absolute details of finishing tracking for even villas, We know of sort of our clients' pain points of developing these outputs by doing this site visit and then documenting that data and then creating it on Excel and reporting it. It's absolute hours getting wasted, from 3 hours for a DPR to like practically 2 days of work for such dashboards. So that's the idea of bringing all of this information together so people are able to actually gain value from monitoring their projects, even at a portfolio level of multiple projects across different locations. So that's the sort of outputs that people are now focusing on and getting a lot of value from using Visualine. These are, again, cost trackers and earned value also that people are monitoring through cost-loaded schedules. Another component that we've been servicing is drone flights, and so that's another aspect that I spoke about even for the metro project, for example, where people are able to drill down into any specific site constraints or issues that will come up. And these are, we've had projects which are now running these discussions with site engineers or subcontractors and talking about the large site layouts and then really discussing it with true data to be able to visualize with clarity actually what the issues are. One more component is this 360 camera site walks. These are also helping a lot of real estate developers get a sense of what the quality of the work is, how the work has been going on. There's a lot of design constraints and design issues that are also being discussed through these 360 site walks that are done from sort of at a weekly frequency through these projects. Lastly, we know that a lot of sort of a management requirement or a management dashboard requirement is not going to be to actually browse through systems. And again, a lot of this complexity about dealing with models, dealing with drone data, dealing with heavy data in general comes through. And so you're practically then working out a model to service clients in such a way that all of this data is getting connected in one place. So you have these dashboards landing up in management inbox, emails directly, so that they basically get a consolidated view, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly. These are what these sort of dashboards look like. These are some live examples. But you're able to consolidate all of this data, and you have this land up in your inbox, and you're able to just get a complete sense of what your project is doing. And these have been quite rewarding from a number of our clients from the response and feedback that we've gotten. I think in summary, that's it. So we're practically now an integrated system for project controls. We focus on controls a lot because anytime we're able to offer any data or outputs to any of our clients, the next question is, what is the action that we're going to do? What is the control measure that people are going to deploy? And so that's the part where we're always trying to focus on closing the loop and making sure people can take solid decisions based on true data coming from site. I think that's it. Thank you so much. Being a lovely audience.